Hi, good evening, and welcome to the Jon Gaunt podcast. It's Trump versus Starmer. It's a fight to the death, but which side are you on? That's what we're discussing tonight. Welcome to the show. Let's get started. Right, here we go. Evening, welcome. Tonight, we're asking that simple question that many in Washington and indeed in Westminster are quietly whispering. Is the so-called special relationship over between the United States of America and the United Kingdom? I don't think it's been working for ages myself, but there we go. Because Donald Trump has really laid into Starmer today. He says the Chagos deal is an act, and I quote, of great stupidity. We're giving away the Chagos. I know he agreed to it before. I don't think he looked into it, to be honest, but he's right. Why would we give away our sovereign territory and then also pay them to take it? Could it be anything to do with the fact China will effectively be in charge of it? And then that ties in with, after Trump said it was an act of great stupidity, Keir Starmer today has signed off the massive Chinese embassy in central London. Yeah, that one. The one that's on top of all of our financial records and cables, and indeed our kind of way of getting in touch with our spies. He's pushing back against Trump on Greenland. And now, after all this trouble this morning, the rumour is he's not going to the World Economic Forum. Well, normally I would applaud him for that, because it's a waste of time, a waste of money, and it's just an uber-liberal talking shop. But you've got to ask the question, why isn't he going? I'll tell you why he isn't going. He's not going because, quite simply, he doesn't want Trump to beat him up again. That's what's going on. By the way, can you hear me? I've had a bit of technical difficulties getting the show together. So if you can hear, just put a message saying, yeah, all okay, Gaunty. Your views, please, on this tonight. I think it's shocking. I think it's shocking that we're giving away our territory in the Chagos. I can't even say it, let alone give it away. And I think it's outrageous that he's allowed this Chinese embassy. Where do you stand on this? Can you get in touch now, please? That's what we're discussing tonight. I also want to talk about somebody I used to work with a long time ago at BBC London, Emily Maitlis. She has said something today on Twitter which kind of sums up the whole problem with our media and our political class. Our media and our political class. She has moaned, everyone can hear me, thank you, I've got enough messages about that. But she's basically been moaning. She's been to Minneapolis airport and seen where they're getting rid of people out of the country. And she's done this whole thing about, oh, it's so terrible. And I put this up saying, when did you stop being a journalist? I don't want you to be a charity worker. I want you to report the news. Not interested in your pathetic middle-class view of it, Emily. That's basically what I was implying. Loads of people have agreed with me, not just in Britain, but in the States as well. Jackie Ward says, yes, I can hear you. Thank you, Jackie. Where's this next one from? Pam Millett, she's another regular. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Okay, so now we can get talking. I feel like starting the show again, actually. I feel like I've peaked a little bit too early. This is going to be a cracking show. So Emily Maitlis was moaning that these illegal migrants in America were now being deported on an aeroplane. And she said, oh, we can't read what number the aeroplane is, as if it was all undercover. Of course, she's so middle class and so up herself, she's forgotten that Barack Obama did exactly the same. He did exactly the same. But this is where the problem comes. The reason we're giving away the Chagos is some kind of colonial guilt. And the man who personifies that whole middle-class, woke, liberal, cultural Marxist attitude to the world is Starmer. So it is an act of great stupidity. And we couldn't have two different leaders. We've kind of alluded to this the past few days on the show, but this is what I really want to talk about today. Starmer, he hasn't stood up to Trump. If he'd said to Trump, no, Greenland, well, he sort of said, no, that's non-negotiable. But when it comes to the Chagos and when it comes to, excuse me, when it comes now to the Chinese embassy, where's he? He needs to be firm. He needs to say, no, this is what I think. This is what I believe. This is what our country is going to do. I think Trump would respect him more. But he's sort of played this game of, oh, I've got a letter from the king and all this nonsense. He's tried to outplay Trump. And Trump has clearly now had enough of it and has seen through him. So we've now got a situation where he's not going to Davos, where he'd have a chance to talk to Trump. Everybody else has gone. Macron's already there. Do you see him in those sunglasses? I know he's got a poorly eye, but what does he look like? And then we've got Emily Maitlis, who used to be on Newsnight. As I say, I work with her. She's a nice enough woman, very clever woman, but just too liberal for liberals' good. She doesn't want any of these people. She didn't even know if they were rapists or paedophiles. I'm sure there were some. I'm sure that not all of them were. It's a bit like when we talk about the illegal migrants committing crime. No one thinks they're all at it. But Emily was doing this sob story. You see, it's all over Twitter. And then why aren't we backing him on Greenland or trying to find a way through Greenland? Because I'll tell you what's happened today. The EU, I don't know why it's the EU and not NATO, but they've now come up with a plan. That's going to go down like a sausage roll or a pork pie at a bar mitzvah with Trump, isn't it? He's going to say, who the hell are you lot? It's the coalition of the willing again to tell me how to solve this problem. He'll just dig his heels in even more. I said yesterday, I don't agree with the way he's been so aggressive with Greenland. But then when you see the way they behave today, like we've got this stupidity of giving away the Chagos effectively to China. I know it's via Mauritius or whatever, but it's effectively giving it away when they've got a big airbase there. And now we've got this Chinese embassy, the biggest embassy of all, in London. What is Starmer up to? What is he up to? His first job and his first loyalty should be to this country. But it seems to me he's giving the biggest Chinese takeaway you've ever seen. I do like that line. I keep using it. But it's ridiculous. What is going on? So I'm asking you tonight, are you with Donald Trump or are you with Starmer? I just think Starmer's got to be removed. I can't believe the damage he's doing to the country. And it's almost as if he wants to trigger us. He's constantly coming up with the wrong idea. Are you with me or are you against me? Why is he choosing? Well, it looks like he's choosing China over America, Europe over Washington. This isn't brave. This isn't independence. This isn't working with our biggest ally, our closest ally. And also with Trump, I don't think it's the way to deal with him. I think he's cleverer than all these people think. So I'm asking this question tonight. Is the relationship over? Do you agree that with Donald Trump, who says the Chagos deal is an act of great stupidity? Why has Keir Starmer said yes to the Chinese embassy? It may all fall through. They're discussing it again in Parliament, but he wants it to happen. I'll tell you why he's done that, because next week or the week after, Never Hear Keir is off to China. He's not going to Davos now, but he's going to go to China to try and get a trade deal. Why does he want a trade deal? Well, that'll be good for Britain. Yeah, but it'll be even better for him and his useless chancellor, who have basically pissed all our money up the wall. That's why he's going to China. Is that why he's allowed this embassy? With all, even MI5 or MFI, whatever they're called, Even they're saying we can't guarantee our security. His first job is the protection of us, his people. Why is he doing it? And why are we allowing him to do it? And I don't know about you. In this unsafe world, I'd much rather be with America than with Europe. And if that makes me non-patriotic, then so be it. I don't trust Starmer. I don't trust Macron. I trust the Italian premier, but nobody else. They're all spineless. They're all spineless. What do you think about what's going on? Which side are you on? Send me a message in the comment box now. If you're new to the show, the way it works is I do my little bit at the beginning like this, which I've almost finished now. You make your comments in the comment box. I then read some of them out and they go and fuel the debate. Thank you for joining me today. If you're liking it, please press the like button. It's very, very important. But talk to me about this tonight. I mean, maybe you're like this person, Alien Intelligence Agency. He says, I'm so angry with Starmer. But unfortunately, I am on Trump's side. I don't know why you say unfortunately. Starmer is out of his depth. He has let us down so badly, I'd rather vote even for Mickey Mouse. Well, I think I'm with you. Starmer, why is he taking on the most powerful man in the world? Why is he making us weaker? Because you'd say about Greenland, maybe Trump knows more than he's letting on. I don't know. What I do know is we're safer being in bed with Trump than Macron or one of those, what do they call it? The coalition of the willing or the coalition of the dead useless, as I christened them. Well, let's have your views on that. Let's take another one. Oh, David Temple, 6147 on YouTube. He's just donated £4 on a super sticker here on YouTube. He's done that just simply by pressing the little dollar sign next to the comments box. Thank you very much indeed. It all helps to keep these podcasts going. I think today we're a bit quiet on the thing. That's why I asked you about, can you hear me? We're a bit quiet, which I find amazing. I thought it'd be going mad on this subject. I believe that Starmer is selling us down the river to China in particular. There is no way we should be giving up the Chagos Islands. There is no way we should be allowing the Chinese to build the biggest embassy in Europe on the old Bank of England site. I used to work near there when I was working for the Sun in St. Catherine's Dock. No way should this be happening. So then it gets me thinking, why is he doing it? Because it's not going to make him popular, is it? Andre Patterson says, I have no idea why you keep Starmer. I presume you're not in our country then. Take that on board. Well, it's because he got elected. And he can stand and be there for the next 4 or 5 years. Unless his party sack him as leader, then, of course, he wouldn't be the Prime Minister. We can't carry on for another 4 and a bit years with him, can we? Let's get your views. Jackie Ward, Starmer hates everything we stand for. He couldn't give a damn about us, John. It's about time the MPs, including Labour MPs, stood up and said they have no confidence in Keir Starmer as Prime Minister. That won't happen because they're not Turkish, Jackie. They're not going to vote for Christmas, are they? Because they know if there's a general election tomorrow, they're all out of a job. He is wrecking our country, she finishes with. Well, I can't argue with that. You're right, Jackie. You're bang on the money. But this is why I've been calling, and some reform people don't agree with me about this. I just believe that all of those people who have gone across now, there's about 8 of them or 7 of them, isn't there? They should all have a by-election. If you got elected as a Labour MP or as a Tory, but then you become reform, you should go back to your constituency and allow people to say, yeah, I agree with that, in an election. I don't know why reform don't want to do this, because personally, I think they'd walk it. And then by walking it, it would prove that no one's got any confidence in Starmer. See, there was meant to be a Labour person coming across today. Reform say they've cancelled the announcement because Trump is dominating everything. Well, you can believe that or not. But what I think is what we actually need is by-elections. Anybody agree or disagree with that? Let's have your views. What a state we're in. Den Spink says Starmer's doing so much damage. Doing as much damage as he can whilst he's got the chance. He's mentally deranged. Well, I'm not sure about that, but he's certainly not a full shilling. He's not the full picnic, is he? Starmer is a nutter, says Lynn Lockett on Facebook. Thank you. He's not looking after our people or our country. Labour needs to go. Thank you very much indeed. Pamela Millett 3905 says he's Billy No Mates. He's looking for friends wherever he can find them. That's very true. That's very true, Pam. But the problem is, if he wants a friend, he may as well be the friend with the biggest lad in the class, or the bully, which in this case is Starmer. I find it incredible that we're in this position where he's given away our security. You do realise that's what he's doing. Why is he doing it? Nobody in the country wants the Chagos deal to go through. That's obvious. Popular opinion is against it. It's a bit like, we also want you to stop the boats. He doesn't bother doing that, does he? Could do that tomorrow. Here we go again. Navy in the Channel, Army on the beach, secure detention, deter, detain and deport. It would be solved in a matter of weeks or certainly months. Get them out of the hotels. Hard, tough attitude. Now, Emily Mateless, she'd be crying into a copy of The Independent if we did this. She'd think this was awful. But I don't understand why these uber liberals are so much into defending paedophiles and villains and crooks and murderers. Why have we still got people in this country who have stabbed, raped and sexually assaulted our women in this country? And they came in a dinghy. It's not right. We've got enough of our own wicked villains like that, haven't we? Why isn't he doing this? And why isn't he siding with Trump? Andre says, Jon Gaunt, you can't do this. You can't go to China while supporting Ukraine because China supports Russia. He's just confused. That's a polite way of describing the position he's in, Andre, but thank you for your comments. I can't... Listen, what's going wrong tonight? Can you not hear me? Can you not see me? Why? Normally we've got hundreds, thousands of people by this time. It's very quiet. I'll see the tumbleweed coming down outside my back window in a moment, if you're not careful. Your views, please. I am British by birth and I live in the UK, says Lisa Burrows. But I totally agree with and follow President Trump. He said Bush then, sorry. Excuse me. He has them all worked out. Our Prime Minister, nice one, Starmer, is a WEF globalist puppet. China is the biggest security risk, and he's allowed them. I'm on President Trump's side. What about you? I think that's a very good comment from Lisa Burrows, and I personally think, I may be wrong, this is anecdotally, that most people agree with Lisa. But then that doesn't answer the question, why is he doing it? Is he some kind of masochist? Does he like being so unpopular? I don't know. It's bonkers. Why have we given the Chinese this massive embassy right next to us and on top of all our security cables? I just don't understand it. Let's move on. Let's go to another member of the audience. Terry Wheatley. Thank you, Terry, for your donation yesterday, by the way. Starmer has sold us out. Chagos and now the Chinese embassy. My Russian mountain dog is more British than you, Starmer, but always Trump. Your mate was heckled today, Starmer. Khan, the London destroyer. Well, he's just as bad, isn't he? I do apologise. It's cold. I still can't shake it off. Come on, then. Anybody else got anything to say about this? What do we do? And where's the opposition? I mean, Kemi today said she condemned what he's done in Greenland. And that's a bit like me. I think that the way Trump's coming on about Greenland is wrong. But that doesn't mean I think he's wrong on, for example, the Palestinian question. I think he did well there. I think he was right to do what he did recently in Venezuela. I think he's right to be worried about the Chinese. And I think he's definitely right on lots of other issues, like getting rid of illegal migrants in the United States of America who shouldn't be there. Of course he's right. But see, people have got Trump derangement syndrome, haven't they? So they hate him for one thing. And I must admit, I winced when he went on about Greenland. But I've got to say, over the last day or so, thinking about it more, who would you like to control Greenland? Russia? China? The United States? Because I'm really sorry if we've got anybody from Greenland watching or listening, but you can't defend yourselves when push comes to shove. And this is why I think tomorrow at the Davos, I think he's going to give them both barrels. I think he's going to do what he did like when he was in the other week at the United Nations. I think he's going to say, well, what can you lot do? Nothing. Don't you tell me what to do. I'm telling you, we've got to do this. We've got to secure our safety and the safety of our people. We had, what's his name? Starmer gave his little speech the other day because he loves doing his little speeches where he says nothing. He's going to do, he does his little speech, but do you feel any more secure after it? Because I don't. And I don't actually think Trump is going to invade Greenland. I think he's trying to say to people, let's be logical about this. But when it comes to these other issues, for example, the Chagos, I can't see why anyone would want to give away our major military outpost there. Why would you want to do that? Don't give me this rubbish about international law, because it doesn't stack up. The world, I think we'd all agree on one thing. The world is a very, very dangerous place at the moment. Don't we want to be on the right side of history for once? The Bristol Channel says, I can't stand Starmer, but Trump's not our king. Only Kemi can fix this mess. Well, I'm not sure she can. She's talking a good game at the moment, but she's got no chance of getting elected, has she? Kim Kestney says, hello. That's a bit of a waste of a message, if you don't mind. Mind me saying, if Labour stood up against him, he would have to call a general election, and he will take everyone down with him. Do you know what? I don't even think he's got the spine to do that. I really don't. I don't think he has. I think the thing we're now understanding, and I've been saying it for quite some time, he's not a leader, and he's never going to be a leader. I don't think he ever really wanted it. He kind of got there by default. I think he thought he'd be a leader for a while of the party, but that he wouldn't necessarily be the prime minister. He's been promoted above his level of mediocrity. He should get a job with the BBC because that's what they do all the time. Have you got a view? I tell you what, I'm running out of comments, so I'm going to be absolutely frank with you. If I don't get a few more comments in a moment, we'll just stop, because obviously you don't want to play today, which is fine by me. I can do another one tomorrow. Maybe it's because I repeated my podcast earlier and people thought, oh, he's been on already. You've got to get used to it. I've got so much content now. I'm trying to make sure people see it. So I put on yesterday's show again as an As Live. I don't think I said on it, no, but I'll be back at 6. So I apologize for that. That's my fault. But if you're not here, you're not here. If you're watching it on a replay, that's fine, because that's the beauty of the internet. Don't forget, you can still comment. You can still get on YouTube, and you can still donate to it. But I do think we've all got a question. I seriously question how safe we are with Keir Starmer in charge. I don't feel safe at all. And if he's going to wind it more with Trump, how is that sensible? How in any way is that sensible? Jackie says it's a sad state of affairs when the majority of the people in a country are siding with the leader of another country over their own leader. Starmer, just go. Jackie, I think you're bang on the money there. I think you're bang on the money. It is ridiculous, isn't it? He's no Winston Churchill. He's not even Churchill, the insurance dog. On the telephone. Don't talk to me about insurance. Don't talk to me about my car. I don't want to mention the car. It's getting fixed on Monday, by the way. Thank you for everybody who's been in touch with your very helpful hints and tips. Get it fixed on by Monday, by all accounts. Let me go to the next one. Hi, my operation was cancelled as the cuts from Labour for the NHS to save money. So I've got to wait until another government. By that time, it might be too late. Is that true? I'm not doubting you, because they keep telling us they've cut all the waiting times. But you've obviously not for you. I don't understand that. But thank you for making the point. So anyway, here we are then. We're going to have the Chinese embassy right on the Bank of England site. We've got the problem now with selling out our foreign territories. I just think that I just can't get my head around that. He thinks it's okay. I mean, some people would say, is he a traitor? Is he a traitor? I think that's going a bit far, probably. Pouncey says, you see this new proposal for banning under 16s from social media, but all much have digital ID to verify their social media. Yeah, I have seen it, and I think we do need to try and protect kids, because you literally don't know what they're watching. I mean, in the old days, if it was a computer, it's a bit like I used to say, when you had a telephone, we always used to have ours when we were kids in the hallway. So your mum or dad, or in my case, my dad, could hear who you were talking to. But the problem is with computers, as proved by adolescents, the TV drama, they can take that upstairs. They could be looking at anything. However, how do you ban a 16-year-old? They know more about the phones, and they know more about computers and software than the rest of us ever will. So I think that's one of the problems with that. So I didn't see it as a big debating item, because I could get all worked up about it. Or I can do the argument both ways. What about civil liberties? And then the argument, well, they're kids and they shouldn't be watching, and all the rest of it. I think, do you know what I mean? I think this comes down to parents. If you've got kids, don't just give them a kiss, give them a hug, and tell them you love them. You got to know what they're looking at, what they're watching, who they're talking to. It's called parenting. I mean, I saw somewhere today as well, 60% of schools have now banned phones completely. Well, what's wrong with the other 40% of schools? No kid needs a phone at school. No kid. Oh, yeah, but what if I'm late and I can't pick them up? Well, do what we used to do. You go and sit in the secretary's office, or with the caretaker, the janitor. What was it? Derek Geiler out of Fenn Street Gang, don't you? I just think all this is nonsense. And I certainly, when you're looking at kids when they're on these phones, they don't need as powerful phone. I don't need the phone I've got. I've got an iPhone, but I use hardly any of the functionality. I don't know. What do you reckon? Let's have your views on that. I'm going to stop in a moment. I think you political commentators will miss Trump when he's gone. He's the biggest content creator ever, says the Bristol Channel. I definitely agree with that. Well, I think we'll miss all the libtards who get really upset by him as well. People like Emily. I couldn't believe how upset. If you get the chance tonight, I've had hundreds of responses. All I said was, when did you give up journalism? Because what she wrote on Twitter today is not journalism. But that's typical of a lot of ex-BBC or even BBC people now. It's all about their emotions and what they feel in reaction to this. And, isn't the world dreadful? No, listen, just report the facts. We're clever enough. We're bright enough. We'll make a decision. This is why I'm against Ofcom. You don't need Ofcom. You don't need somebody to tell you what you can watch and what you can't watch when you're an adult, do you? Or listen to on the radio. We don't need Ofcom because we've got an off switch. There's too much regulation in the media in this country. Yes, we have to protect children, but it always seems to me that governments are just trying to take more and more and more authority from you. Kids should be parented. and they've got to be parented by their parents. I know that's a bit of an old-fashioned idea. We've gone into different subjects here. If you want to comment on it, feel free. We're not safe with Starmer. He's a useless piece of garbage, says Linda Harrison. Totally untrustworthy. I can't argue. I can't argue with it. He must be insane if he thinks he's doing a good job. Why would you want to be the most despised man in Britain? None of it makes sense, John. We all must be missing something. That's Lee Massey. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. What are we missing? Do you remember Spitting Image when they used to do that thing about the president, about Reagan? The president's brain is missing. I feel like that with Starmer. And then people constantly criticize Trump. I think Trump is trying to make things better. I don't like everything he does. Like I said, I wasn't keen on the way he's come in all guns blazing about Greenland. But the more you think about it, if there is this threat from Russia / China, because this is what links everything today, of course, or Russia and China, then don't we need to make sure we can protect ourselves? We can't have just a few Greenlanders. What are Greenland? Are they Eskimos? I don't know what they are. But how would they stop Russia? And also, Trump's got all his American bases there. You can see why he's saying, I had somebody on here the other day say, well, all Trump needs to do is send more troops. Why should he? Why should Trump, or why should America, God bless her, put more money into Europe? I don't think I would if I was the president of the United States. And I think that's what he's trying to get at. I think what he's trying to say is, look, you uber liberals, not everybody in the world is nice. Most people are complete and utter bastards. So let's start from that attitude, and maybe we'd get further and we'd protect our people better. By the way, if you like what I'm doing and you agree with it, or even if you disagree with it, but you think it's valuable, please press that little $sign and donate a few quid. Be great if you could. Because although I've got adverts now, it's only a trickle. We're not yet getting to a point where this is paying for itself, so to speak. Likewise, you could go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt, and you could donate there as well. Frank Francis says, hi, John. Why don't you run for Parliament? No, thank you, Frank. I did that once. I was going to try and be an MEP for UKIP. I failed. They said that my political knowledge wasn't good enough. They just didn't. They obviously vetted me and decided I was the wrong kind of UKIP person. Lucky escape. But now, I don't think the power's in Parliament anymore. I really don't. Just like, Gaunty, why don't you get on a big radio station? Well, because nobody offers me a job. But why don't you write for a paper again? Well, because you can't really write what you want to write anymore. I come on here and talk about what I want to talk about, what I'm interested in. So it's something like that, really. Chris Gogtrees. Let's see. Patriot versus low-life, slimy, backstabbing liar. Decisions. So it's not feckin' Starmer, he says. I wonder where that was going to go. Thank you very much indeed. Hi, John. What Chinese company did Boris back a few years ago? High tech. Sorry, my memory is not that good at times. It began with an H. And they were going to give all of our mobile, infrastructure to them, wasn't it? Hawaii? No, what Hawaii? Something like that. And then they decided, we better not, because they're Chinese and they're spying on us. I mean, I'll bring you up to date, Terry. What about the recent case where the head of the defense or the armed forces said, don't talk about anything that's important about your army camp, your base, when you're in a car, because they think all the cars are bugged or a significant amount are, or your mobile phone is. How many times have you seen adverts on Facebook or on telly? Not telly, on Twitter, and it's something you were talking about. That's the thing. I saw this thing today where it's like a scrubbing rag, right? Is the best way to describe it, but it's long. Get to my age, getting around the back of your back is difficult. And they were doing a deal on it. So I looked at it, And it looks quite good. I've actually ordered one, to tell you the truth. But do you know what? I've been getting inundated, not just by that company, but loads of other companies doing similar products. It really pisses you off, doesn't it? You think, but then there's that other thing where you just talk to Lisa one night and the next day you're getting adverts. So, of course, the Chinese or the Russians or whoever the enemy are could be doing this to us. Dare I say it? Maybe even our own government could be listening in to us all the time. I'm getting more paranoid like that. I've got to tell you. I've got to tell you, I am. I had a mate years ago. He was a DJ for me. I won't tell you what his name is. And I always wondered what he did. He always has to have a few bob on him to buy new records. And it wasn't from what I was paying him. And one night he told me, he said, I work for BT. He said, well, it's not really BT. This is 30 odd years ago. He said, it's an offshoot of BT. I said, what do you mean an offshoot of BT? Before really computers had taken off. And he said, well, basically we listen into what people are talking about. And he said, the computer has got trigger words. So I then took the mickey, like, oh, what do you mean? Like, get his 10 pounds of cocaine or whatever. He said, well, yeah, maybe a bit more sophisticated than that, John. But then it flags up. And then he said, then I listen in. And then we find out who the dealers are. Well, imagine where that is now, that technology. When you, like me, I have a row every day with GPT. I give them my words that I want to use for the description. And they're good because they can just very quickly tighten it up for you. But sometimes they bland it out. So I get straight on there going, what are you blanded out for? Oh, well, we don't want you getting taken off. Da, da, da. And I say, why don't you fuck off? Right? I'm not asking you to be my editor or to be the Lord Chamberlain. I'm asking you just to make sure the words are in the right order, effectively. I've been a journalist 30 years ago. Go off on one. I end up having a row with a chatbot, effectively, but they don't row with you. They're the most brilliant customer service. When you're going mad in a restaurant or a cafe or something, and the bloke's so nice to you, you give in the end. Well, that's what they're like. But they're not human beings. You don't physically talk to them. It's all over the internet. But just imagine. And so now, when I say, write me a bit more direct, a bit more Jon Gaunt style, they do it. And I look at it and think, flipping hell, that's better than I could have done. That's dangerous. So where the technology goes next, can you imagine? I was thinking about this sorry, am I going off? At least I'm interested to myself, even if you lot aren't interested in it. The thing happens, I used to write Emmerdale and Brookside and stuff like that. I used to write soap opera at one point in my life. I wasn't very good at it. But they won't basically use people. I saw my mate Rob Gittins. He was writing EastEnders the other day. They won't need writers. They'll just go into AI. Let's use some characters that no longer exist. Joe Sugden goes into the Woolpack and he meets Hilda Ogden out of Coronation Street. Shock horror. He's her love child. Whatever. Bang. They'd write the whole episode for you because soap opera is so strictly formatted, right? And that's one of the things I found difficult to do. It's not like when you write a play or a book, you can go off and do a radio show. You can go off at tangents. It's very strict. Like a sonnet, there's very strict rules, 14 lines, blah, blah, blah. That's the only rule I know. That's why I said that. But soap opera is the same. So they'll just get AI to do it. There won't be any writing jobs. So that brings me all the way back to what I was saying to you earlier. I am sure they're listening in. And then that gets you into I know when this rag thing comes tomorrow, it's like you must have seen it. It's about the length of a scarf. I won't say the name of the company. I can't remember the name of the company. But it's meant to be good for getting all the dead skin off and all the rest of it. I bet you when I get that, I'll get loads of other offers, not just from that company, but other companies. It's a bit like when you go on Amazon and you buy a book. Next thing is they think you want loads of books about the same thing. Do you remember when you used to go to bookshops and lose a day just in a bookshop? Foyles in London, when I was working down there, I used to go there and lose a whole afternoon just looking at books. And I might end up buying a book that I'd never would have thought of buying. That's the beauty, isn't it? That's the beauty. We've lost all that because we buy everything online. Anyway, I'm rambling on, but you understand what I'm talking about. Anybody know what that Chinese phone company was? It was Hawaii or something like that. Don't worry, John, he'll soon be handing out the little red books, says Leanne Teal. You are very right. Let's have Trump, says Jeffrey. Yeah, that is the question we're asking. Is it Trump or Starmer? Some things Trump does is good, others not so, but better than nothing, better than Starmer. Well, that's exactly where I'm coming from. At least with Trump, he says it as it is, or as he thinks it is. Starmer, do you know what he believes in? A lot of people in the civil service are saying that. He came into power and like, okay, what's the plan? This is Starmer talking. No, that's your job. You're meant to have the plan. You're the boss. You're the prime minister. Oh, shit, haven't we got a committee about that? That's what he's like. That's what he's like. Useless. They don't care that we know anymore. They're enacting their agenda to 2030 plans and the New World Order. Not a conspiracy, it's a fact. Well, Dazza, I don't know whether it's a fact, but I'm certainly coming more and more around to your way of thinking. So I would say that. Whether it's agenda, whatever you said, is a different issue. Evening, Gaunty. Evening, TV Steve Harris. Where have you been? You're late on parade. Will Chinese end up being taught in our schools? I tell you what, if my kids were younger, I'll be getting them to learn 2 languages. I'll get them to learn Arabic and Chinese. Well, Chinese, you have to learn 2 languages, don't you? Mandarin and Cantonese, is it? Anyway, that's what I would do, because that's where the job opportunities are going to be. And that's not me having to go at anyone about the Arabic things. I've got a relation, well, a brother's son, actually. He learnt all about Arabic banking. He isn't any religion himself, but he's had a good career as a result of it. Sam Morgan. Huawei. Huwai. Yeah. Well, we had a slow start, but we're getting people through now, but I've got to stop in a minute. I haven't got a car. I've got to walk to the shops and buy some grub. Unbelievable. What's this? Pamela Millett. She's a good old friend of mine. She's a long-term listener. Hiya, Pamela. Thank you very much. Are you sure about this? She's just donated £10. And it's not the first time she's done it either. So she's done a super sticker on YouTube. Pam, you're a superstar with your super sticker. Thank you very much indeed. Anybody else want to donate something? Hurry up, because I'm about to go. John, you need to clear the cookies to stop the tracking. Yeah, but life's too short, isn't it? Life is just too short. And I'm not looking at anything I shouldn't be looking at, so I'm not going to suddenly get embarrassed. Was it John Prescott, the late John Prescott, who said, why do I keep getting adverts for Thai ladyboys on my whatever it was? And they said, well, it tracks what else you look at. I'm not saying you had been looking at that. Who knows? But don't look at something if you don't want to get caught out. Remember, Jeremy Corbyn offering the whole country free broadband just to try and gain votes? It was utter bullshit. I tell you one thing I will say about that. I thought he was right. He wasn't just free broadband. He wanted everybody, no matter where you lived, to have the same quality. My broadband's not very good tonight. My picture's not very good either. I don't know why, because I live right in the centre of town. I got high fibre. I think we feed it bran flakes every morning, so it should be great. But we should all have, I do believe this is about equality and meritocracy. I do believe everybody should now, in the modern world, if they want it, have the right to fast broadband. Of course they should. Otherwise, you're disadvantaged, aren't you? Agree? Disagree? This is quite a good show now. I shouldn't have bothered with an agenda. I should have just come on. The Muslims don't like the Chinese. Well, that's because some Muslims, about 1 million of them, are being held in labour camps, aren't they? That's what some people were protesting against today outside this new Chinese embassy. I'm not taking sides on this at all, by the way. I just think we've got to recognise who our enemy is. John, I know we're not discussing this, but please have a look at the Enoch Burke case in the Republic of Ireland. It's effing frightening. I know that case. Wasn't he the teacher who misgendered somebody, said the wrong thing, and therefore has lost his job? It's like the Batley school teacher, isn't it? Who talked about the Quran or showed a picture of the Prophet, peace be upon him, right? And he's not worked since. Absolutely disgraceful. It's like Emily Maitlis today. I'm sorry to go back. Maybe none of you have seen this, But Emily Maitlis today, she's going on and on about these people that ICE are deported in America, particularly in Minneapolis. That's where she was. And it did get me thinking, I can't really remember her going apeshit about the Pakistani Muslim rape gangs. But that's kind of similar, isn't it, all the time? The liberals, they pick their agenda and then they go on it. By the way, where's young Greta? Where's she? I thought she'd be on the front line in Iran looking after those women. No? Oh, there's a surprise. And on Android app, microphone blocker stops anything from listening. Also, the new online safety app from February, all messages, phones, videos, etc. will be monitored. All messages and posts will be monitored as well. What, they're not being already? I've always thought, my mate, I don't know if you remember him, he's a great guy, Big George Webley. He's the guy who wrote the intro music to Have I Got News For You? But he was a listener of mine in Milton Keynes. I got to know him. And he said, oh, I'm a musician and a composer. I went, oh, yeah. What have you composed? He said, do you know Have I Got News For You? I said, yeah. He said, I wrote that. And then I became a mate of his. He was a very interesting guy. Died tragically very, very young. But yeah, interesting guy. But he used to tell us all the time, never speak. You know, he used to come around my house and say, I've got something to tell you. And then he'd want to go out in the garden. So we stand out in the garden and it's like snowing and he's telling me something. I said, well, why do we have to stand out here? Well, you never know who's listening. I said, but no, who's going to be interested in what some junky bass player in your band said? But that's what he was like. And I used to laugh at him. But now I'm thinking, the other thing he used to say, don't eat crisps, Gaunty. They're a heart attack in a bag. I'll tell you more about Big George another day. A lovely man. A very lovely, lovely man. Facebook listens, says Dan Spinks. Yeah, they won't be they'll be asleep by now if they're listening to this show. You see the game for school children from the government? Yes, I have. Somebody else says Hawaii. Who are we? How are you meant to pronounce that? I wouldn't have let him have the contract just on the basis that no one can say the words. Slapping a bird's arse, says Emily Maitlis has selective outrage. She certainly does. And Russell Brand says, I'm with Trump. Yeah, interesting that. I must tell you, Emily Maitlis is a nice girl, posh as hell. But when I worked with her at BBC London, she was all right. And I know she's highly intellectual. But you know, people who are highly intellectual, they're normally as thick as two short planks, aren't they, about normal things? And I think that's one of, I've been thinking about this a lot recently, last few days, all about how the middle classes who run the media, who all go into politics, they're all the same, aren't they? Like, they're still going on now about Zia Yusuf saying he wouldn't want to talk to them in the green room. Well, I'm the same. But they're still going on about it. Because they've got a cosy little club. You know, I told you about that guy who's he's on GB News a lot with beard. He's on talk. Well, I've never seen him on it, but he tells me constantly on Twitter he's on talk, and now he's on Mike Graham's show, and he's on such and such a show, and you can catch him about 4 or 5 times, right? Right? It's easier to catch this bloke doing his little bits than it is to catch herpes, right? And he comes on and just says the same things. Why don't they use different commentators? Oh, shut up, John. That's why you're in the wilderness, begging for a fiver here and there. Intelligence and common sense are very different things, says Slapping a Bird's Arse. You are right. And that's kind of what I was implying. I've met some really, really intelligent people, or highly educated, I should say, but they've got no common sense. Or they're not very intelligent. They've just learnt everything. And I've met other people haven't got a qualification between them. But bloody hell, they're bright. I had a mate called Roger. He was a butcher. When I was a Saturday boy in Tesco's, well, I used to work Thursday, Friday and Saturday. He was this, the butcher. And when he was younger, he looked like Charlie George, the footballer, had the same haircut. And he was a great bloke. Got to know him really well, big friends. Yeah, eventually he went to Ruskin College, the Labour College, because he was into trade unionism and all that. And he became a trade union official. And he was brilliant at it. And he died. He died a couple of years ago. I got to meet him again, thank God. And he was just this marvellous, brilliantly clever. If you wanted to argue about football or trade unionism and that, he could just do it. And he could do that great thing that my daughter learned when she went to Oxford, which is where you have two arguments in your head and you can argue either one. You know, like David Starkey. So David Starkey can come on and say, Henry VIII, the world's first male feminist. You think, Henry VIII got married 6 times. What are you on about? Chop women's heads off. He's a misogynist. And then he would argue. Brilliant. And that's the thing that you learn at these, well, especially Oxford and Cambridge, the top universities. My daughter can do it. It drives me fucking crazy, right? But Roger, not an O level to his name, he could do that. He wouldn't even know what it was, but he could do it. That's the way his brain worked. He passed away just a couple of years ago. He really upset me because I just got back to, seeing him and everything. But when he was younger, he was a right boy. We all were. Drinking in the Holyhead pub. People in Coventry will know where that is. And just fantastic. I wish he hadn't died on one level, just to be selfish for a minute, because he's the sort of guy I'd like to get to know more and more as I got older. Got another mate, Perry. I'm going to be doing something with him soon on the well, I won't say anything more than that, but he's a really interesting bloke as well. Naturally funny. Naturally very, very funny. Make you laugh about anything. Got charisma like nothing else on earth. He's the one who had the triple heart bypass just recently. So I'm going to be doing something with him as well. Right, I've had enough now. I've got to go. Got to go and get some grub. Thank you for joining in eventually. And I'm sorry I did a show this afternoon. I've obviously split the audience. I apologise about that. But I've enjoyed it, and I hope you have. And if you've enjoyed it enough, please go to because tonight's the cut-off night, www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt, and donate whatever you can. Or just send me a super sticker on here. And I understand now you can do that even if it isn't live. Richard Propes says, Crossroads was AI before its time. Hi, John. Late on here tonight as I've just finished work. That's all right, Richard. Don't worry about it. One day, Richard, if you remind me, I'll tell you my Crossroads stories. I've got loads. I never wrote for Crossroads, but I was kind of around Central when all that was happening. I may have told the one about Amy Turtle, but if you remind me tomorrow, I'll tell you because I've run out of time now. And Jackie Ward, I can always rely on her. She sent me the 3 red hearts. That's me finished. Thank you very much indeed. Oh, Coventry are playing tonight. Just forgot about it. Is it on the telly? I'll be watching that. I'll see you later. Until then, or till tomorrow at 6. Don't worry. If I do an extra show and I put it in, you'll know about it. Or if it's a repeat, please don't then not come in at 6 as well. I'll be back at 6 tomorrow. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.